There's a footbridge where it all begins.
Well, here's where we begin. Here's where the Pennine Journey starts, the Wainwright Bridge at Settle Station, where Wainwright stood before he set out all those years ago.
Seems to be a kind of plant pot theme going on here.
I had a wander around Settle before I left, finding a co-op to buy a lunch, having a wander around the marketplace and look at the many interesting plant pot features as I found my way out the village.
Aha! The first Pennine bridleway marker. That's what we're following. That AW looks a bit like a church spire, but just coming out to Settle now, and of course it's raining.
The Pennine Journey climbs really steeply out of Settle.
Oh, excuse the wheezing and the steam train type noises. But there's Settle. Wainwright says it's better from above than actually in it. I'm inclined to agree, it's quite busy. He said, even in 1938, he said it's unbearable at weekends because it's clogged up with traffic trying to get to the coast and the lakes from the industrial towns. But as Wainwright said, Settle is also a gateway to the hills, so it feels like we've really begun now. Just caught my first glimpse of Pennines, and that village down below, that's Langcliffe, just from an interview. Now, Wainwright would have taken the road that would have gone through the villages and along to Horton, but like I said in the introduction, this route doesn't follow his exact route for most of it because it's just not safe going by roads. I don't fancy being mown down, and it won't be particularly pleasant either. This is much more pleasant. Now that is proper limestone country. It really feels like we're in the Dales now. I can't help but think Wainwright missed a trick by just sticking to the road, but then again, when he walked it, I don't think there's the same right of access to Rome, so he probably didn't have a lot of choice. So another reason to be thankful. If it wasn't raining, you could probably see the panorama we've got here. Look, there's Pennines, just zooming on it. See, just in the clouds. I'm just hoping this is going to be a shower. Well, I can just hear the road that Wainwright would have taken. In fact, you can see it beyond the houses there. But of course, it looks a lot busier today than it was when he did it. So I'm really glad I'm looking down on it, not walking along it. just came down a really steep track through these woods, and it's stepped path, but the trouble is it's limestone, and the guidebook says it's slippery, but it's wet, and of course it's wet. I'm really not sure. We're not the most sure-footed, and we do look a bit wet. I'm a bit overbalanced, so I may go for a little way round. It's not really wimpish of me, it's just I don't really want to fall in and get swept downstream this early on in the walk. Right, I thought I'd just stop for a spot of late lunch in the churchyard, particularly nice spot. Wainwright quite liked Stainforth. What he said was it made a most pleasing picture, and he might have attempted to halt there, but turning the corner he came across the bicycles, hundreds lining the road on both sides of the tea room, from which issued bedlam. I can't understand why cyclists are so noisy, but they invariably are. A pity, because there's much to admire in them. They have the right idea, but until they can resist the craving to herd together, I fear they will never experience the greatest enjoyments from the open air. It must have been quite a sight really, all those cyclists in 1930s. There's no sign of that cafe today. There's a pub, but no cafe anymore sadly, so I don't know where it was.
It was glorious. I loved the feeling of freedom being on the hills gave me. Just like Wainwright felt freedom from the crisis of the war, I felt real freedom from the restrictions and the fear of COVID. Thought I was going to get wet feet here, but hey presto, there's a bridge.
This has been a particularly steep climb up here. There isn't much of an ascent to climb Pennine, but I'm not going to today. One, because like Wainwright only set off from Settle at midday, although he did get to Buckton in that day, but still. And two, I'm just not fit enough carrying this weight on my back. I don't want to jinx the rest of the walk, so I'm just going to go down to Horton and follow the original route. Dropping down now to Horton-in-Ribblesdale. That's the way down there, I think. Still looks a little way. I'll make rains on today, but I've not been rushing either, because I've no need to rush really. Not long now, hopefully. Now we're on the road that Wainwright would have come down the Settle to Horton-in-Ribblesdale, but you can see it's a pretty major road today. There is no pavement. It's quite busy. Well, it normally is. It's not at the minute, but there's been loads of cars come by, so you can see why we took the route we did now. There's a church. Wainwright said he imagined that it would be torn down and rebuilt one day. It would be a shame because it would be able to keep him, but it hasn't happened yet. He also said He imagined it'd be very dusty inside.
Unfortunately, it was locked, so I couldn't find out.
Pitched. I'll tell you my pitched pot. I've actually got kettle on for tea, which is a pot liquid. Oh well. Oh, and some crisps. Well, that's day one done. I'm in my sleeping bag in the tent. Eat my pot noodle. Pitch the tent. The route was a bit hillier than I expected, but not too bad, just more difficult with carrying the weight on your back. Of course, Wainwright didn't stay here, he went on to Buckton, but there you go. Buckton's tomorrow.